Great story to tell is that there's a fun little riddle, right? And the way you hook an adult into this is you tell them up front, most adults get all four of these questions wrong, but most children get all four of them correct. So the first one is fairly clever. How do you put an elephant in a refrigerator? Adults shrug their shoulders. Most children will say, you open the door and you put him in. The joke then continues, how do you fit a giraffe in a refrigerator? Well, first you take the elephant out, then you put the giraffe in. Of course, the next question is then, of course, the Lion King is throwing a big party and everyone's invited. Who's the only animal who won't be there? The giraffe. He's still in the refrigerator. And the joke concludes with finally, you're running really late to the party for the Lion King. And so you're running as fast as you can to get there. You come to a river, and there's a sign that says, danger, crocodiles. So how do you cross the river? Well, simple. You swim across the river. You're late. All the other animals are already at the party. So then, what does this story tell us? Other than, it's a fun riddle for little kids and adults like to play with it as well. Well, it highlights two of the points we're talking about this week. The first one is that storytelling is an important talent to have if you're going to be a manager. Whether it's asking little riddles, whether it's pushing someone with a story that's motivational, whether it's helping a customer or a patient by inspiring them, by lifting them up, by telling them maybe about a personal time in your life where you had something similar happen and give some advice to how you overcame it. Storytelling plays an integral part in being human, right? And this is because humans like stories. We're very bad at just remembering facts. If I said, in 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed to the Americas. In 1508, John Smith decided to take the same adventure, but to a different part. You could just keep going forever and ever, but there's no story there. It's just a bunch of disconnected facts, right? Some of those may be true, some of them may be made up. Your mind will sort of rearrange them as it feels necessary. But other devices like mnemonics or storytelling give us an emotional impact that carries us forward, right? And that really helps. And the way that active listening connects with this is that if you're engaging with a story, how do you know someone's listening? Well, you can ask some questions, you can follow up, you can see what they learned from the experience. A really great example, our category this week, or our subject from this week, comes from an article related by Anne Rugemeyer, and it's called All One Can Do is Tell a Better Story. And the conclusion she draws from her narrative structure is that people remember stories better when they're asked about them or forced to recount them again and again. And this, of course, makes sense. Like I said, people actively listen and pay attention and continue forward with memory, with an important detail of a story, and it relates on an emotional level to them. On the other hand, being a good storyteller encourages active listening, right? So Rugemeyer, what she says at the end is, think of the empathetic listener as a secondary witness. So a secondary witness to the events that happen. Maybe they're not just the person watching from here, but another person involved in the story, right? And she says, it becomes clear that storytelling has indeed brought together new vocabularies for articulating how literary, business, and other artistic narratives open new possibilities of thought and experience. And so she makes a key point here that if I remember something and I can draw an analogy to a story I remember and relate it back to something else in my life, I'm building this network, this interconnected bundle of experiences, of narratives, of stories, of emotions, of thoughts and feelings that I now can convey with a story to another. And this is a much, much more effective teaching method than just rote memorization of facts. And so I think that's a really key part of why being a good storyteller is important for leadership.